Thanks for listening to the Business Spotlight podcast presented by the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce. I'm Logan Weaver, the marketing coordinator for the Chamber. Thank you for tuning in. Today I have Allie White, the director of golf, and Dave Smith, one of the co-owners and co-managing partners of Lancaster Golf Club. How's it going, guys?
Good to be here, Logan. Thanks for having us.
We're having a great spring out at the golf club, and we're very excited about the rest of the year as well.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful last couple of weeks, knock on wood, and a little bit rainy today when we're recording, but yeah, we just got off of Easter weekend and absolutely gorgeous for golf. I will say right off the bat, I'm not much of a golfer. I'm lucky if I can hit the ball sometimes, but I do enjoy watching the golf outings that we see all throughout the community, and I know you guys will talk a little bit about that, but before we get started, Dave, I think a lot of folks know you and what you do, but kind of tell us about your role with Lancaster Golf Club.
Sure. Myself and some others were concerned when the Lancaster Country Club seemed to be ready to shut down, and we were trying to figure out what their next phase was. And so we took a proactive attitude with the current owners at the time, started negotiating with them before they technically closed and then after they closed, to encourage them to sell the country club to this group that was just starting to form. Started out as 2-3 guys, then 15 guys, then we got up to 27 individuals, ladies and gentlemen, that wanted to preserve not only the golf course, but also the clubhouse for the facilities that it had provided to the citizens and the patrons of Lancaster and Fairfield County since 1909. And we wanted to preserve all of that, both the clubhouse and the services as well as the golf course.
And there, like you mentioned, over 100 years of history, not just at the golf club or the clubhouse, but, you know, that whole property. And so I'm sure there's a ton of memories, ton of family history that's engraved into that property. So I remember as an Eagle Gazette employee just a few years ago when not just the golf club, but a few other courses around the community were up for sale. And I remember the initial report was it was, at the very least, very close to being a housing development. And that's a lot of property, a lot of history to just bulldoze and put a subdivision in. And so I know you guys, within a few weeks after that article ran, really stepped up and basically you guys saved the golf club.
Literally. And the nice thing is the current owners at the time were receptive to what we were trying to do. And we thought we came to a fair financial agreement on how to preserve it. And that's what we wanted to do because, as you were saying earlier, the country club was open to the general public for a lot of events. And the clubhouse itself was used for many weddings and many birthday parties, a lot of Mother's Days and Father's Day. And you didn't necessarily have to be a club member to utilize the clubhouse for special events because when it was started in 1909, it was started by business people saying we needed a facility in the city, near the city, that could house such events, big events. And that's what they did, and we wanted to preserve that.
Yeah, and absolutely gorgeous facility out there. Allie, I know you're the director of golf out there, so tell us a little bit about how you got into that role and what you currently do at the golf club.
Yeah, well, you know, I grew up golfing at Lancaster, and I went off and played college golf and pro golf, and, you know, just timing-wise, it sort of just so happened that they were looking for somebody to be their director of golf about the time I was looking to have a full-time job of a, you know, sedentary nature. Mm-hmm. And it just worked out that I ended up being hired a couple years ago and have been doing work for them ever since. And yeah, from a community member as myself perspective, very grateful that they saved the golf course and that the 5 managing members have worked so hard to not just save it, but then own it and keep it going and take care of it. And grateful, you know, if they hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have a job. So.
Yeah. I mean,
nor would, like, I don't know, like a good healthy chunk of other people, a good 30 other people on the golf course and 30 people in the restaurant. And anyway, that's a big thing that it did for the community too.
We were very fortunate. We had an initial golf pro or director of golf when we first opened up. And we knew that he was going to be moving on, and we had already been looking at Allie because she has a close relationship with the golf course and Lancaster High School and golf history here. And we were so pleased that when the time came that she was available, and she said yes, because she has worked out so well for us with the members, with new prospects, obviously with outside outings that come in, and working with the general public and the youth on a golf program. So we're very pleased, very happy.
Yeah, multifaceted facility. As you mentioned, Allie, you've got the restaurant out there, currently Alfonso's, great Italian. You got the pool out there as well, which should be opening up here in the next few weeks as summer starts to, ramp up and everything. And, of course, the main attraction, the golf course itself, professionally designed, I believe, when it first opened back in the early 20th century.
Yeah, and Donald Ross was a Scottish immigrant that came into the United States and designed 400 some golf courses in the United States. Some are very famous today, Pinehurst number 2, and there's a bunch of others. But not only the first 9 holes we had at Lancaster Golf Club were the first holes that we put in, but he also did Marietta and Zanesville country clubs.
Oh, wow.
Scioto, Inverness. Those are his 2 most famous in Ohio.
Yes.
He's probably at least top 5 most famous architects in the country, if not the most famous.
And probably most famous because he has the most ever.
And that makes sense, yeah.
But he had an early start, and he was very well connected to the upcoming country clubs and golf courses like Lancaster in his heyday. And so he designed our first 9 holes, and then we had
in the 50s, Kidwell.
Jack Kidwell came in and did the other 9 holes.
Who's one of the best of Ohio architect ever.
Maybe the most prolific golf course architects was Jack Kidwell. And then back in the 80s, we had the Donald Ross Society come in and review our golf course, not only for the original 9 that Donald Ross did, but the other 9 that Jack Kidwell did. And they offered some suggestions how to make the first 9 and the second 9 kind of come together and melt together. They were dramatically different. The land was more flat on the Jack Kidwell side. It was more hilly on the backside with the Ross side. So it was a nice blend. The size of the target greens and the bunkers and the position of the bunkers, all technical stuff. And golfers like to know that. There are Donald Ross golfers that their whole career, their whole life, they want to play all the Donald Ross courses, which is a huge undertaking, but many have done it.
And that basically makes the golf club a destination, not just for the community members, but for golfers all across the country.
Well, a lot of smaller golf courses were designed by the guy that owned the land or the family that owned the land. And so some have turned out to be very good golfing tracks, and some they got flat land and they got 18 holes. And for a lot of golfers, they don't need a lot of challenge. But the nice thing about the Lancaster Golf Club is that we have 5 sets of tees. 5, I think. So.
That's right.
And so for unlike other sports where they don't lower the basket on basketball, the tennis court nets, they don't move the nets around. On a golf course, they move the tees up based on your ability to play and your handicap. So everybody has a fair shot of having a good round of golf. And having 5 sets of tees really makes that easy.
Yeah, that's one thing that I learned early on when we started doing the chamber golf outings. Again, I had never even set foot onto a golf course before the chamber's outings, and we had some happy hour events out there at the golf club too, and so you kind of learn pretty quickly about at least the basics of the game and really understand it. I have had some golf experience in the past as well, but once you start to learn that, you really see how accessible it is, the game of golf, and especially with you guys having that variety of tees.
And the interesting thing is everybody thinks that we're way out in the country, but if you're downtown at Main and Broad Street, 5 to 7 minutes, you're at the golf course.
If that, yeah.
I
used to live down that way, so it was kind of right in our backyard. So, very beautiful course. And that's another thing we wanted to talk about is just the quality of the course, because I know I've been to a few outings out there, and just the lush greens and everything is just absolutely amazing when you're out there.
Yeah, I think I can speak to that. We always, when people come play, in the last 2 years that I've been here, people just love the conditions of the golf course. Our superintendent, or actually just got promoted to the director of greens and grounds. Seth Rainier, he grew up working at a golf course that his family owned. And then he was an assistant at Scioto. And so he's got a high standard of quality for a golf course. And he has really, really made it excellent out there. And I don't think within our area currently anything is at as high a standard of quality as our golf course. So I think that's something that we're really proud of.
And playability is a word that can be used by anybody who plays golf. It's one thing to have a beautiful track of land, which we have, and it's another to have a quality of grass that we have. And the greens are the most important grass areas, but so are the fairways and the roughs to make them playable. And one of the things that Seth was very sincere about was getting rid of the trees that were in the way of playing golf. And we had planted trees over the decades, if not 100 years. And a lot of times those little trees, when they grow up, they're in the wrong place and they're too big and they overhang not only the greens, but they get in the way of taking the water away from some of the greens. And so, I don't know, maybe 100 trees we've lost in the last 3 years. Seth and Kyle just love to get their chainsaws out during the wintertime. But it makes it more playable, opens up the air and the sunshine to the golf course, which you want better grass. And without a doubt, we have some of the best grass and greens anywhere in Central Ohio, maybe the state, and in a regional area as well. And we've had the USGA come through and tell us that. We've had people from Lancaster and Fairfield County that have been on the tour, Allie included, in her tour, and said how quality a golf course we have. And of course, we kind of knew that, but if we don't get out to look at other courses, how do you compare ourselves to others? And I get out a little bit and play golf in other states, and because I like the game and I like my friends. And it's true. You know, we have a great golf course layout, and it's well maintained. And Seth and Kyle do a great job with and we're fortunate that we have the playability of the course and the play on the course to generate the money to buy the equipment and to buy the chemicals and material that you need to have such a golf course.
Yeah, great to have a team who, one, knows what they're doing. They know about quality work. They know how to implement that, but then to see it through as well. And I think being able to have the feedback, not just from your golfers, but as you mentioned, the USGA and all the other professionals who say, yes, you are one of the top ones. I think that says a lot about the quality of work that goes into it. Allie, let me talk to you a little bit about some of the golf outings, because I think when someone thinks of the golf courses, they think of golf outings. And tell me a little bit about some of the community events and some of the outings that you guys host out there at the golf club.
Yeah, of course. We have all kinds of golfers. I think that's a message that Dave and I really wanted to pound through today with you having us. You know, we've been public now for 3 years, and we get all sorts of people in our public play. We get people that buy season passes to play. And then we also host, you know, charity outings like the Chuck Rogers, the Fisher Catholic. We're super excited to have in the fall. We're going to have a Gordon Snyder Memorial Pickering House, September 15th in the afternoon. Love to see everybody there. Outing. We do other charity outings. We have 3 high school tournaments that'll have 80 high schoolers out there in the fall. We do a U.S. Kids tournament that has 100 little kids running around and golfing. It is certainly not a stuffy place that is uninviting to kids and others. It's very much, we have a lot of different people and all folks coming together to enjoy the golf course. I do kids clinics. I have 4 of those in July on Wednesdays for kids ages, I think like 5 to 12. Anyway, yeah, there's just a ton happening, and, you know, come on out.
Yeah, and I think that's good that you guys are able to host those clinics for the kids. It gets them exposed to the game, a game that, you know, for some may not be easily accessible, but if you're able to expose it to them, at an early age, get them comfortable with being out on the course, learn the rules and everything. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, and we have lots of adult stuff too. I mean, the Golf Week tour comes, the US Am tour comes. We had probably the biggest Central Ohio amateur tournament. The Columbus District Golf Association hosted their men, seniors here, and regular men. And then the Women's Ohio State Senior Golf Association, they're doing their women's senior with us this year. So we're just hitting it all. And then I would also say for folks like you, Logan, that aren't ready to take the course on a daily basis, we have two beautiful driving ranges. One is a public, like a daily rate, and it's irons only. And then the other range you can buy a season pass for. So, no, there's nowhere else. Within 40 minutes, I don't think there's anywhere else you can really hit golf balls at a driving range, which is essential for helping kids get better and everybody get better. So, that memo needs to be out there that we're the place to go.
Yeah. Or folks like me who are lucky if they hit the ball.
Right,
let alone if it gets straight. If I make contact, yeah.
The first couple of years we were open as the Lancaster Golf Club, people didn't realize that we were open to the public, and that's one of the messages that finally got out, I think, in our third year. Last year we had the most play that golf course has ever seen as a private country club or now a public course. And we're real happy that that's what's working out, because we wanted to share that golf course with as many golfers as possible. And we do have some slow periods Monday through Friday in the middle of the afternoon. So the people can always call the pro shop and double check. But for somebody who really wants to work on their game and not be pressured by the foursomes pushing through on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, these afternoons are a great time for people to come out and at their pace play golf and enjoy it.
And like I said, beautiful scenery too, nice and quiet, kind of out in the middle of the woods there. And
9 holes, 18, whatever their choice is. Carts always included, so they can have fun. Come out as a single with those times in the middles of the afternoon. Before we have league play almost every day at the end of the afternoon. Come out shortly after lunch, and there's even a reduced rate at that point in time too.
Yep, 3100 Country Club Road in Lancaster, just south of downtown, like you mentioned, Dave. Probably about 5 minutes, if that, depending on traffic. So
I can get there sooner than that, but that's not for publication. Oh, this is public radio, isn't it? Well, I know people at City Hall.
I was going to say, Chief Snyder, if you're listening, you did not hear that.
Yeah.
Allie, if someone wants to come out, whether it's just to become a member or to use a driving range or anything, or maybe someone's planning a charity outing, how can they reach out?
Yeah, just call us, 740-654-3535, or you can always email proshop@lancastergolfclub.com.
Awesome. Well, Allie, Dave, thank you so much for coming in and talking about the golf club today.
Thank you, Logan.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Business Spotlight podcast presented by the Lancaster-Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce.